Okay, welcome to another Sunday Night Live. Welcome to the show. Come on in. We have a great show tonight. I'm going to get over here and just share this out one more time. I'm going to do a quick post for this. So we're talking all about toxic load. Let's share that question or share post there. We are live. Go ahead and grab your friend, grab your dog, grab your water, and come on in. Okay, so now, hey Lily, how are you? So yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody, and happy pre-New Year, because I won't see you, but I hope everybody had a great Christmas, a great holiday with their families and their friends. I hope it was free of drama, as so many people, they're like, oh, the family drama. So hopefully you were free of drama. Hopefully you had a wonderful time. I know I had a wonderful time. My sister came up to visit from North Carolina. It was just great, super relaxing, a lot of peopling. So yeah, I need a little bit of time without people. I can say that honestly. I love people. I'm an extreme extrovert, but I refuel by just having my own time. So I'm curious, what do you do? What do you love to people? Do you not love to people? And when you people a lot, what do you do after that? So yeah, Lily, what is a family gathering without drama? Boring. Oh yeah, I'm sure we could all share stories. So that would be fun to do a Sunday Night Live after a holiday. Thanksgiving seems to be the biggest drama-driven holiday. So that could be a lot of fun to do that. So and just have everyone share their stories. Wouldn't that be great? I could bring people up on stage. Everybody gets to share a story. So fun. All right. So here we are. We are looming in on New Year's Day. New Year's Day is Thursday. And we are once again looking at New Year's resolutions. Now I'm going to do a whole show on New Year's resolutions, but today's show is about toxic load detox, because this is typically the time of year where you're starting to see, everybody's setting their New Year's resolutions. Everybody is interested in doing some kind of a detox. And what we need to do is make sure that you are armed with the proper information. There's a lot of unhealthy detoxes out there. So I don't want you all to succumb to things that could potentially harm your health. Harm your health, do nothing for your health, and just cost you a bunch of money in both cases. I would prefer you were doing things that helped move the needle forward for you. Yes, there's still going to be some kind of a financial investment depending on what you do. So whether it's joining a gym or hiring a coach, hiring a nutrition coach, doing my detox, there is a cost for my detox. I haven't landed on it yet, but we'll talk about that at the end. So what we're going to talk about today is what it means to be toxic, because I have a patient that I'm working with. She's been a patient for many years. One of my original patients from April of 2001. And she now has Parkinson's. And she has, for many years, she's had health issues. She's had gut issues. She's had just all kinds of crazy things going on. And she then ends up with Parkinson's. And she's also been on acid blockers for many years. So now she's also recently diagnosed with osteoporosis. And it's all related, you guys. It's all related. When we go into the Wayback Machine, when I'm working with people, I always go into the Wayback Machine. And a lot of times I get the question, how can something when I was a teenager or a child be affecting me now? I'm 70, I'm 60, I'm 50, however old you are. And the answer is that's what sets you up for chronic health issues today, is that it was laying a foundation for poor health for so many years, and that you didn't have the knowledge or the understanding or potentially even the discipline to do something different. But I do find that most people just don't have the proper knowledge, which is the inspiration for doing this show, so that you can have these aha moments. We can have the light bulb moments. You can wake up and go, oh, wow, I can't believe I followed that path for so many years. Now, fortunately, on this channel, we have a lot of you who understand that, we have to make different changes. We have to make different choices. A lot of you have that understanding of toxic load and what's in our food, our water, our air, our soil, our environment. And so this is going to take it a little step further. Those are easier people to work with. So if you have zero understanding of any of this and you're new to the channel, just hang on, just stay here, because we'll unpack it. It doesn't mean we can't make changes. It just means we're gonna have to dive a little bit deeper for you. This patient that I have who has Parkinson's, she is a very healthy eater. She tells me about things that she makes. She eats pretty healthy. They're protein forward, very low carbohydrate, healthy fats. They don't eat processed foods. And yet she's still overweight and she's still struggling with hormones and she still has Parkinson's. And it's because she didn't start doing this until just in the last probably 3 or 4 years of her life. So a lot of the damage had already been set. And so now I'm working with her to try to unwind a lot of that. So, Mr. C. Bobski, Happy New Year's. Thank you for being here. Alto Scaparanas, I don't know if I pronounced that right. But thank you so much. You're amazing too for being here and supporting me. So I appreciate that very much. And so as we go into, let's talk about this. So going back to the patient who has Parkinson's, she said to me as we started working on her nutrition habits, she said to me, well, I don't think I'm toxic. And I said, yes, you are. There's no way you can't be, because if you weren't toxic, no disease comes in a clean environment. So if you think about that, if you think about, garbage that's been sitting out and maggots come and, it's disgusting, and other bugs and things start to degrade it. Well, that's what happens to your health when we become toxic. The body doesn't have the ability to maintain a level of health and healing that it deserves. And so we get toxic overload. We have more toxins in our environment than we've ever had. Sorry, you guys. I always see pictures on social media of all the things being sprayed in the air. And it wasn't until, and I see it, but the not to the intensity that I typically see it on social media. And I was outside in my backyard just a few weeks ago, and I looked up and there were just multiples. First time I've seen it in my area. Multiple, probably about 10, 11, 12, just straight streaks like this. And then here comes another plane. Here's another one right behind it. Here's another one right behind it, all going in the same direction. And then shockingly enough, the next day was cloudy. I'm going to air quote cloudy. And the clouds all seemed to be shaped in these straight lines. Well, that's not how clouds are formed. So whatever toxic chemicals they were throwing in the air, then over the next couple of days, my patients are coming in and they're saying, oh my God, my sinuses, I've had a headache. I haven't been able to sleep. Yeah, because we have shit coming down from the skies. Literally, it's heavy metals. It's toxic chemicals that we are not supposed to be inhaling. We are not supposed to be ingesting. And so things inadvertently get into our bodies without our knowledge. And Mary Lou Lopez is here. Thanks for being here, Mary Lou. Merry Christmas, my dear. When I was 8 weeks pregnant, if you guys have been following my channel, you may have heard me tell this story because it has applied in so many ways so often that I was about 12 weeks pregnant, about 3 months pregnant. And I kept hearing this airplane flying overhead about 6 o'clock in the morning, just doing circles. And I thought, wow, are they like, is this like flying lessons? What's going on? Finally, after day 3, waking a pregnant woman up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I called the county and I said, hey, what's going on? And they said, oh, you live in the township I live in, yes. And they said, we're spraying for gypsy moths. And I said, I'm sorry, what? I said, where is the memo? Where's my memo that you are spraying poison into the air of my unborn child? And the woman said, she goes, oh, well, it was on the news. And I said, I don't watch the news. So I'm a taxpayer and a homeowner. I would have expected something in my mailbox, like something like but there's no regulations on what they're allowed to spray. So they're spraying for gypsy moths. And we all know that when much of the reason that we get so much overwhelm with, we have this issue in the Detroit River with zebra mussels. And we had, I think it was I'm going to get this story completely wrong, but you'll get the idea. I think there was a fish, there was something, or an algae or something there was too much of it. So they brought in zebra mussels to eat it up. And now the zebra mussels are a problem. And now they're trying to figure out, how do we get rid of the zebra mussels? So, they get into the ballasts of the ships and the boats. And so it's when we start to try to play God and control one thing, something else is going to creep in. And that's very much the same in our bodies. When we start to try to, let's say, you go to the doctor, you get a cholesterol level and your cholesterol is at 205 and your doctor's like, oh, you have high cholesterol. You don't. Okay. But they want to put you on cholesterol medication. Well, when you press that down, when you suppress that process, something else is going to want to counteract it. When you have high blood pressure and you take medication to lower it, that's an inflammatory process. Okay. So high blood pressure is because there's inflammation in the body. It's inflammation of the cardiovascular system. And of course, that's so many of the other videos that we do. But when that goes up and then you take a pill and you push it down because you haven't healed anything, something else is going to pop up. So we get into this really crazy seesawness, if that's a word, seesawness. So what we want to look at is, what can we control? We cannot control them spraying for gypsy moths. We cannot control for whatever the hell that was a few weeks ago with all the stripes in the sky. We cannot control hidden things in our food that don't require labels. We can read labels and we can purchase with our eyes. And if something doesn't sound like, if you read a label and there's something on a food label and you want to ask yourself, where can I buy that in the grocery store? And if you can't buy what's on the label in the grocery store, then you don't buy it. It's toxic chemical and it should not go in your body. So this is what we need to start to learn to control our own environments. And starting with a good, healthy detox is key number one. So, I want to go through this because also, like I said, this patient that I have that has Parkinson's, when she says, I don't really think I'm toxic because she's eating healthy. But oftentimes these chemicals, they get stuck in our tissues. And so we need to help them get out, which is what makes a lot of detox programs dangerous, is that they only work on one particular part of the digestive tract or the liver, or they don't support the kidneys in the process, or they don't have proper amino acid or nutritional profiles to support all the organs through detoxification. So I'm going to lay out what that detox process should look like, but let's just start talking about what does toxic overload look like. And forgive me for 1 second, because Ken has told me about this fun little teleprompter thing where my notes are supposed to scroll on the screen for me. And so if they don't, I'm going to read them from another screen. But let's see if they, yeah, I I don't think, oh, wait, I got to press play on the screen. Okay, here we go. All right, you guys ready? All right, it's gonna be fun. Okay, slow down. Holy moly. Okay. No, it's gonna be too fast, Ken. I have it on the lowest, the slowest, and it's going fast. Oh my God. Okay. All right, we're not gonna do this. We're not gonna do this. Okay, we're gonna go back to it. Thank you for humoring me on that. Okay, let me go back. Let me grab my notes here. Sorry about that. We were kind of excited about that. It had potential, but holy moly, give me a second to read. Wow, they got to fix that speed on there. Ken, you're gonna have to test that yourself and see what I'm talking about. I was like, whoa, jeez. Okay.
It's a new feature, guys. So we're playing.
We were playing, yes. I'm just saying it doesn't work. I mean, it works. It's just way too fast. I talk fast. That was too fast for me to read and speak at the same time. I mean, I'll do it. If you guys want some humor, I'll do it. Ghetto Hippie, how are you? Thanks for all those Instagram videos. I appreciate it. Radioactive fog. Yep. The fog for weeks in California. Yeah. Is it fog? Yeah. Okay. So let me get back to, go back to the regular. There we go. Okay. So I'll try to get back to a regular screen so I can see. All right, here we go. Okay. Okay. So with toxic load, the question is, why is your body struggling and what to do about it? Now, I did I think Sunday Night Live with last week or the week before on moderation. Moderation is the key. Moderation's bullshit, if you were here. And I talked about, though, all these little things that we do that build up. And I have another video that I'm going to be doing about all of the different ways that we cause damage to our health. I know I put together the Dirty 30. That was like foods. The Dirty 30 were foods that people think are safe and fine and healthy. And that was interesting. That was a bit of an eye opener for a lot of people. So when it comes to toxic load, a lot of the toxins come from just right around our world, which is what I want you to control. So the body does struggle. How do you know the body's struggling? This is one of those things where you're thinking to yourself, I'm doing all the right things, but I'm still tired. I still have headaches. My neck still hurts. I'm not sleeping well. I have brain fog. I'm still, the stress is getting to me, which we always talk about, stress it's not the stress itself, it's how you respond to the stress. And so stress isn't typically going to go away. How do you respond to it? How do you give your body a more peaceful way of dealing with stress? And so when we talk about this toxic load, I want you to understand that I don't want to come from a place of fear. I never want to come from a place of fear for anybody. There's enough fear out there. I want to come from a place of helping you just to realize some things that you could do for yourself that maybe you didn't realize before. How can you step up your health? How can you each and every day be a little bit better? Because of the Christmas holiday, I always talk about presetting and resetting. And so presetting is moving up to the Christmas holiday. And I ate food that I don't even know, and I had cocktails. I didn't drink all that much, but it was more than I would normally have. So the last 3 days I've been doing, for me, what feels good is I go back to macros. So I actually track each and every food. I use that MyFitnessPal. I track my calories, I track my fat, my protein, my carbohydrates. And so I'm going back into a caloric deficit to make up for that. So I am resetting right now. And I encourage you to do the same thing. So it's never about fear. And it's also never about criticism, because I don't ever want you to think that, I'm telling you not to go indulge. No, go have fun. It's just, you got to take care of yourself after the fact. So toxic load is the total burden your body has to manage at any given time. So it includes things like environmental toxins that we talked about, inflammatory foods, chronic stress. When you're under chronic stress actually causes your blood sugar to go up. And here's why. When you are being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, your body makes extra glycogen, which is a form of sugar, so that you can run. It's a way of getting your body more energy when it senses stress and fear. But your body doesn't know the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and a deadline. And so the stress has the same biochemical response to your body. Your cholesterol also goes up. Your bad cholesterol, we have good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, but bad cholesterol is not bad. We need it. The LDL, what most people say bad cholesterol, it got that rap because if it went high, it meant you had sticky blood. And if you're out on the prairie running from a saber-toothed tiger, and that tiger reaches out and swats your arm and cuts you, do you want that cut to heal faster or slower? Well, if you have sticky blood from having more LDL from the stress, you're going to heal faster. So these are like, primal things that your body does. So again, if you have high cholesterol, it's because you're inflamed, you're stressed, it could be dietary, but most of the time it's from a chronic stress situation. Or chronic chemical exposure too, because you're stressing the liver. And anytime you stress the liver, that's going to push the cholesterol. Poor sleep creates toxic load because poor sleep also increases blood sugar because it's seen as a stressor. Poor sleep and chronic stress, and then my next one is gut dysfunction. Those three really go together because any one of those, chronic stress and poor sleep, actually change. It causes a shift in the gut microbiome. So if you're not getting proper rest and you're under chronic stress, you're going to shift the bacteria that you should have in your gut. And that's going to create that gut dysfunction. And then our last one is emotional overload. So again, just creating those emotional conditions that are causing biochemical reactions in your body that are going to create that toxic load. But for today's purpose, I do want to focus mostly on our food and our environment, because those are the two biggest ones. We'll have other conversations about stress as we've done in the past, but I think just focusing on those two right now are going to be our key. So look at symptoms like signals. This is the smoke detector going off. Your symptoms are, and if you're somebody who also, let's say you get a headache once or twice a week, and you're like, I just go take a couple of Advil and I'm fine. Well, the headache probably is from inflammation, nutrient deficiency, food sensitivity, food allergy, chemical sensitivity, and then you take the Advil, and now you're adding more toxins into it. So anytime you do even those little things, pay attention. We tend to ignore these little things. And I always use the example of thyroid. People who have autoimmune thyroid disease think that, and actually I think blood pressure too, is that just because you're medicated for it, you're fine. Because it's controlled, you're fine. It is not the case at all. And also, disclaimer, I'm not telling you to stop taking that medication. I just need you to ask yourself, why do I have high blood pressure? Why do I have high cholesterol? Why do I get headaches? Why do I have chronic pain? You have to ask yourself the why of that, and don't just mask it. So if you're finding that you're having to take something other than a nutrient on a regular basis, that should be a big red flag for you. Your body's inflamed and toxic. All right. So air pollution and mold. Now, mold is a big one. And so many people don't recognize that they may have lived in a moldy environment and not known it. They could have mold toxicity that has held on for many, many years. And now you eat foods that perpetuate mold. So oftentimes, if somebody has candida, which is a yeast infection in your gut, you're usually there's a little bit of mold with that. Usually, not always, but usually there's a little bit of a moldy component. And so oftentimes, if you have candida, I'll typically recommend that you want to avoid things like regular coffee. Coffee teas tend to be very moldy. Coffee beans, they get moist and then they mold, and then they throw them in the roaster, and then they roast the mold onto them. So so we need to start thinking about mold for people who have chronic health issues. Water contaminants. And then I was traveling with a friend a few months ago, and I was drinking the water from the airport restaurant, and she said, she goes, don't you worry about contaminants in the water? And I go, yeah. And I said, but I'm thirsty. So, and she goes, I just don't drink water. So she chooses to get dehydrated because she's too afraid to drink water other than from her house. So she hardly drank water for the 4 days we were in San Antonio, in the pool, in the hot sun. We had been drinking alcohol. So I'm like, I'm just going to drink the water. And so then let's think about this. I say this all the time. At some point, if you're so confused, you bless it and move on. Like, you do your best and then you bless it and you move on. So don't make yourself crazy, but do your best. So pesticides and heavy metals, the heavy metals are coming from the air, from the environment, our cookware. We are getting heavy metals from injections. So everyone who loves those yearly flu shots are super high in aluminum. That's not helpful. Figure out, why do you need that? Why do you, are you someone who gets sick every year? Or do you think that because you get that, you're like, oh, I don't get sick because I get that? That's not why. You're not deficient in a flu shot. Your body can survive and heal much better without all those contaminants. Ultra processed foods and alcohol. So ultra processed foods, again, very inflammatory. They are so far away from actual food. You'll need to go back and listen to, I forget which episode it was. It was right after Thanksgiving when I talked about the Cool Whip cookies. And the woman who made them was diabetic, and she insisted that those types of cookies were free calories for diabetics. And that she was a 60-year-old woman, didn't understand why she ended up having a quadruple bypass this past summer. So this is really common, that people just have their head in the sand on these different food-like substances. And I think that's where I dropped the dirty 30, was on the ultra-processed food. Plastics, fragrances, candles, and cleaners. Now, the thing with plastics is that anything that touches plastic. So think about when you start going grocery shopping and you look around at your chicken is in a styrofoam container on some cushy thing to absorb the moisture. That's plastic. And then it's covered with plastic. So we're getting microplastics in everything. The other thing is, hold on. Okay, man, something in my throat. About 2 years ago, I did a video on Kerrygold butter, because there was a study done by, I think it's called Mamavation, great channel to follow. She does a lot of testing on different food products, body products, very eye-opening. But she'd done a test on Kerrygold and found that Kerrygold butter had the highest amount of PFAS, forever chemicals, and microplastics in it. And so there was a bit of a demonizing of the Kerrygold. the problem with that, and I think I said this in my video, I hope I did at least, is that most butters, think about every dairy product goes through plastic tubing. That's where our PFAS comes from. That's where our forever chemicals come from. Anything that goes through plastic tubing is going to have forever chemicals in it. Anything, which is pretty much everything. I mean, think about it. Like, even if I buy an organic milk in a bottle, there was plastic tubing that put it into that bottle. So it exists everywhere. And this is when I say we cannot escape it, which is why detoxing your body is so critical, because your liver cannot keep up with it. I'm going to get through the rest of this. I just have 2 more, and then I'm going to talk about how the liver functions in detoxing. So we have laundry detergents and personal care products. The fragrances alone, those have what are called phthalates, PTHALATES, something like that. Phthalates, and phthalates cause inflammation of the brain. So even if it's like something super scenty, like I'm looking around as if I have anything in my house. But perfumes, dyes, candles, Glade plugins, air fresheners. I have a friend of mine that owns a shared, she owns one of those places where you go rent office space. It's that. And she has this a scent. I forgot what the scent is. But it's so strong. And she makes fun of people when they say that it's too strong. She's had people say they can't work there because the scent is too strong. And so, and she's like, and I don't know why, it smells so good. And then she actually then takes it and dabs it on her body as perfume. I'm like, oh my God. So we can't do that. We can't live in these environments with all these scents. And laundry detergents, by far, in my opinion, I have said this over and over, if you get rid of one thing in your house besides the Glade plugins, think about the laundry detergent. You are with that product and also the chemicals of it 24/7. So you sleep in your sheets and your pillows, you put your clothing on, you dry your body with towels, you're going to work, you have the clothes on that you washed in the laundry detergent. I think laundry detergent is probably the biggest insult of health. And so, purchasing that on, I think I get the Ecos brand, which is coconut based. And then your personal care products, really important to, no Bath and Body Works, none of that stuff. And of course, then we talked about chronic stress and nervous system overload. We want to make sure that we are protecting that biochemical reactions in our bodies. So we're never going to be able to eliminate everything because it's just all around us. But we want to try to lower the total load. And that's really the key. So before I go in, I'm going to go toxic load and chronic disease. I'll then talk about liver, but I want to go through some of our comments real quick and see what we got. Lily says, LDL lousy, HDL healthy. Remember, cholesterol is necessary. Yes. And that's what I'm saying. Like LDL isn't lousy when it's in proper ratios. And you want it. If you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and it reaches out and slices your arm open, you want that there. That's going to help you clot faster. But we are running from a saber-toothed tiger every day, all day, and that's when it's not good. The same fight or flight reactions can be stimulated by TV and movies. Great point. Great point. This is why also don't watch the news. Don't watch the news. Every single person who watched any coverage from 9/11, just thinking about it, revisits. Your body goes through the same stress pathways, just thinking about it. It's crazy how the body works. The body has this memory of these situations. So don't watch the news. watch happy things on television. I don't often watch, drama. Sometimes I like drama. Every once in a while, I watch something drama. But my daughter the other night, I came home and she was watching Avatar. I never watched it. It's like weird looking lizard people. I don't know, but they weird me out. I grew up in the 70s and 80s when like Planet of the Apes was on, and my brother used to love to watch that show. And I'm like, ew, like I couldn't look at those people. Like that stressed me out. So I come home and I make dinner for me and my daughter, and then I go in the living room, and all I'm hearing for like hours is, this like, like screaming, and then this daunting music. And I'm like, I was in the kitchen just hearing it while I was cooking. And I'm like, I was getting amped up just hearing this. Like there was never a let up of the stressful music and the screaming in the movie. And I'm like, wow. So then I sat in the kitchen and I put my earbuds in, and I ate in the kitchen. She's like, you don't want to watch this with me that bad? And I go, no, I don't want to watch blue, weird looking lizard people. No, I don't. So anyway, I don't know. How do you guys feel about Avatar? I don't know. It was stressful to me. I've noticed my reactions. It's why I'm trying to watch. Yes, watch what my ears and eyes watch. Yes, for sure. Where did I leave off here? There I am. Okay. And video games also. Yes. Much like how the subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is real and fake. That's very, very true. Lots of studies to prove that. And again, that's why the body doesn't know the difference between a dead lion and a saber-toothed tiger. It's going to stress the way it's going to stress. So I believe some of those video games have desensitized those who have grown up playing those games. I believe not just video games, but I believe television. I think so much of what we have on social media has desensitized many of us to, we just don't have the same response. It becomes white noise. So even our thoughts can cause these reactions. Yes. So think happy thoughts. We've talked about the Japanese water study. I always forget the guy's name, and I have his book about how he took 2 vats of water and he exposed one to sunlight and beautiful music.
Dr. Yadamoto.
Yes. I'm like, I have the book over there. Great. You could just look up Japanese water study. And so the one vat of water, like played beautiful music, spoke beautiful things, wrote things, positive messages on the jar. And the other one, he put it in darkness and he played like, heavy metal music, and he spoke, poor things over it and put negative words on the jar. And then he froze them. And when he took the ice shavings and he put them under a microscope, and he found that the ones that were spoken to beautifully and nurtured and got sunlight were these beautiful snowflake shapes. And the other one that got all the negativity was like shards of glass. So you do have to be very mindful of what you say to yourself. This is also part of your detox plan for 2026 is, what are the words that you're saying to yourself? What are the words you're putting in your mind? Your body, and Bruce Lipton, brilliant man. I had the pleasure of hearing him speak a couple of times many years ago. And he wrote a book called The Biology of Belief. And he talks about this. He talks about the biochemical reactions that happen within our cells with a positive or a negative thought. So positive thoughts lead to positive cascades in the body. Negative thoughts lead to negative cascades. So always keep that in mind. Lily says, I'm pretty good health, always room for improvement. Yeah, there's always room for improvement. And that's where I will always say this, and Dr. Erica, when we do chiropractic is sexy, we always will say, you know, we are not standing on a soapbox. Well, we do get on a soapbox, but we are never gonna, claim to be perfect. We are always, each and every day, we're always looking to improve ourselves, and we want that for so many people. Is what is something you can do each and every day to move your needle of health a little bit further. And so ghetto hippie, oof, the cool whip chemical mess. Yes. So that was a fun episode. It's the real whipped cream. Yes. Good heavy whipping cream, and then just whip it up yourself. So good. I feel like nobody else has the knowledge or guts to say these things. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate this. So listen, make sure if you are new seeing me, make sure you're subscribing to It's All About the Biology, as well as Dr. Paula Ruffin, so you can get access to all of my other videos, because I've been talking about this stuff. I started my YouTube channel, well, many, many years ago, but I really started consistently posting in 2022. So I have over 700, just about 700 videos on my YouTube channel over the past 3 years. So jump on over there. There's a lot of great information. And also follow Chiropractic is Sexy, because Dr. Eric and I get kind of like gritty. We don't pull any punches either. So, and it's just how I like it. You know, I mean, I live my life like that. And of course we have to, walk whatever lines YouTube wants us to walk, but we sort of walk around them too. PFAS, forever chemicals, endocrine system disrupting chemicals causing inflammation, etc. Yes. So people who are wondering about why their kids are going through puberty so soon, again, spraying for gypsy moths when I was pregnant. And I didn't share this with you. I lived in a moldy household. I was pregnant in a moldy household, and I didn't figure it out for 10 years. Maybe longer, 12. So think about that. One of the reasons I'm clearing my throat and coughing is my lungs get really irritated still. And I'm not, so I've not been able to purge all the mold out of my lungs. And I remediated for that 15 years ago. So it takes a long time, you guys. It's never over. You can't just do a 10-day detox and think that then all is well and you're fine. It's a constant process. So what we're going to be doing in January is it's going to be our 10-day launch. So it is going to be a way for you to kind of get disciplined, start learning a little bit more, and then really like get nitty gritty with what you need to do for the new year. So I've read that we consume the equivalent of a credit card worth of plastic monthly. So I've heard that we all have the equivalent of a credit card in our brain, something like that. So I don't know. It could be either one of those. And phthalates, thank you for spelling that for me, ghetto hippie. They wreak havoc on the endocrine system, and people are addicted. They are addicted, like the whole Cool Whip fiasco. Yep. Beeswax candles, yes. So great if you can find them. And people don't realize these colorful scented candles are a chemical soup if you're breathing in those toxins. I try to buy like my soaps from somebody local. My neighbor actually makes them. She made me these soaps, and her soaps. So you can see that, yeah. So these are like natural. I don't know what that is, but I've been in her basement, so I've seen. This is essential oils: tallow, coconut oil, apricot kernel oil, castor oil, hemp seed, cocoa butter, goat's milk, clay, and essential oils. So that's clay in that one. And then this one, oh, God, they smell so good too. This one doesn't have one, but yeah. So super yummy. So good. You just find natural soaps like that. Yes, dryer sheets. We need to get rid of the dryer sheets also. detergents, fabric softeners, like, I mean, all that stuff is just killing us. But, we want to smell good, right? I stay away from plugins. The fire chief stated their number one reason for house fires. Wow, I did not know that. That they don't leave a trace that is easily found. That's crazy. The people who put these things on the market know exactly the health issues that they cause. Truth, yeah. Well, and they do know, but they don't care, right? I remember walking out of the movie house when I was very first Friday 13 was showing. I remember all my sons being insulted within the first minutes. Now I'm good and walked out. That's great. Television programming, sabotaging the subconscious. It sure does. Yeah. Yes, Harimoto, Dr. Harimoto with the water study. Programming the mind so the body follows orders. There it is right there. Yeah, Dr. Masaru Emoto's experiments. Oh wait, Harimoto. What was this one then? Harimoto? Are we getting our Japanese doctors mixed up? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my notes and then I'll come back to some comments. So, what happens when we get toxic load and chronic disease? It doesn't just happen overnight. When the detox, repair, and recovery systems are overwhelmed for too long, the body then adapts. And those adaptations are not always positive. They'll show up as chronic pain, headaches, migraines, autoimmune conditions, hormonal imbalances, digestive issues, mood and anxiety symptoms, metabolic dysfunction, sleep disorders, and that list can go on. So, and people will say, they'll often say, "Oh, I have have a family history. It's in my genetics," and they don't necessarily realize that it's not. Migraines don't run in the family. What runs in the family is what each person is doing that continues to cause that migraine. There's probably like a chemical sensitivity, probably a food sensitivity, probably something you're doing in your lifestyle that's causing this inflammatory process and a nutritional deficiency, and the brain is starting to struggle. So when we get into the new year, so most everybody's trying to make their New Year's resolutions right now. And the problem is 90% of people will give up their New Year's resolutions within 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So by January 14th, most people have given up. So I am doing detox with the doc, and that is going to start on I got a new computer, but it's still my IT guy's on it doing all his things. So it'll be much faster. I'll be able to do stuff when I'm streaming. So we're going to start on Monday, the 19th. That is 3 weeks away. So Monday, January 19th, we start detox with the doc. Now, I'm going to remind you guys of this next week. However, I need to, there we go. Okay. So this is my email address. If you are interested in getting more information about the program itself, go ahead and send me an email and put in the subject line detox. Make sure you put your full name in the body of the email, because sometimes your emails will just come through as your email. And so I want to be able to just put that in, make sure I get your proper information in there. And I'll send you the what you need, what the program's going to look like. Because here's the thing. So with all of this toxic load coming in, the liver there's 3 phases of detoxification. There's a couple extra, but let's talk about the 3 main phases of detoxification. You have phase 1 of liver detox, phase 2 of liver detox, and phase 3 is kidney filtration. Now, we also detox through our breath. We detox through skin, sweating. Those are all great things. You can do that during a detox. But we're going to talk about just these 3 for now. And so what happens is we get exposed to these chemicals and they come in, and phase 1 is really fast. So the toxins come in, it goes through phase 1 of liver detox. So what phase 1 does is it actually breaks down the toxin and then it sends it into phase 2, and phase 2 has to put a water droplet around it so that it can safely get over to the kidneys and then get flushed out. And that's phase 3. But phase 2 is really slow. So it can't keep up, because putting that water droplet around that toxin takes a lot of work. And so it takes a long time. So when the body can't keep up, what it does is it puts it into long-term storage. So it'll take these toxins, it'll take what it can, put the water droplet around it, flush out what it can, and then it'll send them to long-term storage, which is fat. Well, the brain is fat. Heavy metals get stored in the brain. A lot of Parkinson's, dementia, a lot of our neurodevelopmental disorders, ADD, ADHD, will find heavy metals in the brain. Autism. So it's critical that we pay attention to this, because the more toxins you're exposed to, and the less you're detoxing properly, then the more is going to get stored in long-term storage, and it just continues this loop. So the detox that I do, we talk about healthy eating, clean eating. It is not calorically restrictive. We don't want to do that. That's just it. If you're eating the right foods, you don't need to restrict calories. If you're eating foods that are nutritionally balanced and nutritionally dense, then your body's going to tell you it's fine. It's going, your satiety centers are going to kick in. And so I never, ever want anybody to be hungry on a detox. So I'll tell people, if they're like, it's day 3 and I'm starving, well, you probably didn't eat enough food, because we have in our minds that when we do something like this, it's dieting. This is not dieting. We're detoxing. We're just eliminating categories of food. So no gluten, no dairy, no corn, no alcohol, minimal coffee. But the coffee, you've got to, get shade grown, low acid, organic, and it's got to be mold free if you want your coffee, because we can't feed the mold that we're trying to flush out. So we talk about food. We have to teach you how to utilize food to detox your body. What are the best foods that are going to help nutrient wise? And we'll talk about that next week in next week's live. So we use foods. We'll talk about that. And then we use a medical food. And that medical food is a powder. And you'll make a shake with that a couple of times a day. And the beauty of that is that it actually crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it helps pull those heavy metals out of the brain. It pulls toxins from the brain. Now, to my knowledge, this is the only product on the market, and I could be wrong, but I haven't found one yet. There might be, Standard Process might have one, but if there are, they're very few. So I use Metagenics, and it's the only one that I trust that raises phase 2 of liver detoxification. So what you're going to do is I'm going to give you this nutrient dense powder to make a shake with. And it's essentially a meal replacement. A lot of people will end up losing weight anyway. They're going to lose water weight. They'll end up losing fat mass. So it's pretty cool, but we want to flush out those toxins. So it's going to raise the speed at which phase 2 can detoxify. So we're going to pull the toxins. We're going to raise phase 2, give some speed to phase 2 so it can keep up with phase 1 and get all the junk out of the body. Now, one of the biggest questions I get is, well, have you going to the bathroom a lot? You'll be peeing a lot, but you don't feel like you're going to go shit your pants or anything like that. It's not that. You will have more bowel movements. If you are somebody who suffers from constipation, then we need to talk before. If you want to do the detox with me, and I have to go back. It's roughly $300. I don't know if the kit increased in price or not. So let's just say roughly $300. That includes the kit, and it includes access into a private Facebook group. It includes access to me for 10 days. I will be teaching you each and every day. So it's basically my coaching through this 10-day program. So it'll be roughly around there. So it's pretty affordable. And And it's fun. Like, it's actually fun because you start to look at food a different way. You feel amazing. Your energy improves. When I detox, it's pretty cool because I usually like to be in bed by like 9, and then I'll read. I might watch a little comedy, and then I want to be asleep between 9:30 and 10. When I'm detoxing, I have so much energy that I'm almost afraid that I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. But then when I lay down, I'm like out like a light, sleep like a baby. It's really incredible. Your brain fog goes away. You think more clearly. You're so much more productive in life. People are happier. People who've been constipated for years are like, oh my God, I feel incredible. So, and that's when I say, 10 days this is just a jump start. It's just, we're going to scratch the surface for you. Now, how do you proceed after 10 days, which we'll talk about that more in depth. But I do a shake every day. I have been taking this product every day for the past 20 years because I recognize that each and every day I have this exposure to all this stuff. During the 10 days, I will definitely tighten up the ship. I'll tighten up my foods. I'll increase my shakes per day so that I can really push the detox pathways. So if that's something you're interested, send me an email, and I will put you on my list. I'm going to be emailing out more information on that probably tomorrow. I was trying to get to that today with my new computer, but my IT guy needed to work on that. So basically did not get a chance to do that. So anyway, it's a great jump start. And since most people fail by January 14th, we're going to start on the 19th. So that you can like jump back in. So you can have like that motivation. But like I said, if you suffer from constipation, there's some things that we need to line up first. We need to get started before January 19th because I need to get your bowels moving. I don't recommend doing this if you're somebody who has constipation because we're going to start pulling toxins and dumping them into the gut where you don't have motility to get it out. I don't want this stuff reabsorbing. So if you are constipated, we have a problem that we have to fix so that you can then do a proper detox. You're really toxic if you're constipated because you're reabsorbing crap that you should be pooping out every day. Okay. So let's see if there was anything else on my notes. So that's the detox. I do it every year. I've been doing it every year for years. It's really fun. We have a great Facebook group. I may or may not, running a Facebook group it's a lot of work. I was thinking of doing like a free Facebook group and, posting some stuff in there that would be of value, but we'll have to see. There's only so much of me to go around. So I'd have to see if I could do that. Cause then, it'd be something I might post some things in and, you could kind of like do it on your own. I wouldn't be able to manage it fully. You could get some, you're here, you're getting this information. So if you wanted to ask questions, you can always email me. Let's see, let me go here. So why do most people fail? Let's go to that for a minute. We're all motivated. We're all motivated because we've been eating and drinking, and then we end up, we feel like shit, and we're like, I'm motivated. And then within 2 weeks, your motivation goes away. Getting healthy is hard. Getting healthy, it takes effort. Like you have to change some lifestyle things. It doesn't just happen, and people get frustrated and they don't want to put the work in, or, they're like, it's too much. And I don't want to shop and I don't want to food prep. And, it's just excuses have to stop, period. Excuses have to stop. You have to ask yourself, why do I take Advil every day? I had a patient one time that told me he would take Advil before he went golfing in case he got sore. And I'm like, that's not how life works. Like, what? You're not deficient in Advil. Oh, let your body get sore. Like, let it get sore. It's okay. But these little tiny things that we do, that we've done for years, it builds and it builds and builds. And I promise you, something will break. like my patient with Parkinson's and osteoporosis at 72 years old. Like, no, that's not. And doctors have had her on acid blockers for years. And that's not the answer, because now she's osteoporotic. And when you break a bone, when you're over 70, you have a 50% chance of leaving the hospital. When you break a bone, when you're over, I think it's 80, you have I don't know, I think it's when it's over 80, it's 50%. When it's over 70, it might be like 30% or something. Like it's some crazy, like, why is there even a statistic that you die when you break a bone based on your age? Like, that's what? Where did that come from? So I want for you to stay out of the hospital. I want for you to not have to go to the doctor. I want for you to not have to be medicated, and whatever that looks like. And again, not telling you to go off medications. I'm just saying, if you're on them, and if there's a way, if you can find yourself a doctor to help you get off of them, then, do it. And some doctors are just like, no, absolutely not. I won't do it. Find another doctor. So, okay. So let's see. I went too far up. Oh, goodness. Stiff back from sitting here. Beeswax candles. Oh, I went way up. Let's see, people who put these things on the market. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I think here, Lily. Claiming human thoughts and emotions, love, hate, gratitude could alter water's crystalline structure, forming beautiful crystals with positive input and distorted ones with negative. Yeah, so we're back on his work. Ghetto hippie, I am getting old and easily confused. Let's see. There are none of us that are getting any younger. Isn't that the sad truth? I found a picture right before I got pregnant. My daughter's just turned 21. And it was October of 2003. And I got pregnant like in January, something like that. I looked like a freaking baby. I think I look like that now until I look at that picture and I'm like, I was a baby. I didn't look 37 in that picture. What? Like, that was crazy. So yeah, crazy town. No, so sad. I know. When you really sound out the word, you see the real meaning behind them. Which word are we talking about? Let's see. If you've been sick for years, it is not reasonable to expect to heal quickly. 100%. And again, that's why so many people, they want the quick way out. It's very easy. So it's not that they don't want better for themselves, but their pattern becomes comfortable. And it's hard. It's hard to learn new habits. It's hard to make those changes. And it's easier. This is what I know. This is what I'm comfortable with. I want to have my shitty cream in my coffee. Oh, sorry, Ken. He's going to jump on and smack me over here. I knew I was gonna get some shit for that one. They put the disclaimer of being an allergen on spray air fresheners to hide the fact that they cause toxic reactions to the chemical compounds in them. And we ran into that like during COVID. Everybody was bleaching everything. And I'm like, you guys, do you realize bleach is considered what's called an asthmagen? So not only does it flare up asthma, it causes asthma. So how many people, I'm curious, I don't know, have lung issues now from, cleaning with bleach through COVID. And then of course the hand sanitizer and all that stuff. Harimoto did studies on cannabis drying up and sequestering radiation and heavy metals. That is interesting. Let's see. I open a window for fresh air. I live rural. I open them when I can, weather permitting, to refresh the air in our home. I do the same thing. I step outside every day, even when it's super cold, even if I'm out there for 10 seconds, just get a blast of cold air and then come inside. They chemtrail me heavily here. I do open the window and close my door, but these things are designed. Yeah, they sure are. Where are you at, Ghetto Hippie? Yeah, damned if you do. Which is why, like, sometimes we just have to bless it and move on. If we sat in all these rabbit holes, if we bitched about it every single day, if we were, if it's just harder to see what we can do within ourselves, which is really what, that's really what it is. Like, do your best. I'm here to help everybody do their best. And this is why we got a detox. So that saddens me to hear. Only occasionally same trails here over the last 15 years. Let's see, Ghetto Hippie, you're lucky. I live in New York and they are quite active. Oh gosh, yeah. They have some time. And then all the smog, right, from the cars. The sky becomes a washed out powder blue and the haze dominates the sky. That's how we were all summer last 3 years from the the Canadian wildfires. Oil of oregano is my go-to for what ails me. The product you were mentioning sounds good for a detox for sure. I trust you, Dr. Paula, with this recommendation. Thank you so much, Lily. Absolutely. And I love oil of oregano. I love to diffuse it through the winter. I diffuse it in the office. I diffuse it here at home. It's antimicrobial. It's a natural antibiotic. So yeah, don't be afraid to diffuse it. Yes, it's experience with detox. Yes, ma'am. I've been doing this been practicing functional medicine for 27 years. Let's see. Yeah, kind of nutrition, really got into the functional medicine piece when I got pregnant. So 22 years would be on the functional medicine side. And the colon reabsorbs toxins. Yes, it does. So yeah, if you are not eliminating every day, we have a problem. Dedicated focus is the art of self-discipline in action. I love that. And, discipline is, you don't need motivation. You just need discipline. Like, discipline is like overcomes the motivation piece. And then once you get past, you feel like, okay, no, I'm going to go do it anyway. I feel like crap. I'm going to get up and go to the gym. I'm going to go, I've been taking Bentley to Lowe's and we walk around Lowe's. They're very dog friendly. I don't want to be outside when it's cold. Like, I'm kind of miserable when it's cold weather, especially when it's raining. But it's cool. We go there. People know us. They say hi. There's usually not too many people there anyway. And we just walk. It takes me about a good 45 minutes to an hour to fully walk up and down all the lanes. So I go all the way down one side and all the way back. It's great. And he likes it. And it's good training for him too. Lysergic acid blocker. I don't know what lysergic is. Television culture. Yes, right. The genie is getting sassy. Is that me? Mountain Grandma. Mountain Grandma. I've been lurking and appreciate all the info. Thank you, Mountain Grandma. You may lurk, and lurk more. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for saying hi. Appreciate that. Okay, so let's wrap it. So we're coming into the beginning of the year. I want to do this early enough so that you all have a running start into the new year, so that you all have a better understanding of what you need to be doing. Now, I recognize that, January 1st is Thursday. But next week we'll talk about like how to start changing out some different foods, what you'd be looking at from a health perspective. What are some good food swaps you can make? I'll go through actually the detox foods so that you can see like it's totally fine. Like it's good, healthy, clean, delicious foods. People often think, oh, it's going to be bland and boring. Not at all. No, a lot of flavors, a lot of herbs and spices and garlic. And so it's really, it's pretty yummy. You won't be suffering at all, but stay away from like the juice cleanses. So the juice cleanses are, if they have fruit in them, they're going to cause too high of a spike in your blood sugar. If they're all greens, it's going to be too high in oxalates. Oxalates are those little crystals that crystallize out. For people who can't digest oxalates, they crystallize out, like you're supposed to poop them out. So for people who have gallbladder issues, they are deficient in calcium. And so it won't bind the oxalates in the stool and the colon, and they won't poop them out. And so they get reabsorbed back in the body. And so that ends up causing joint pain, autoimmune issues, migraine headaches, gut issues. Oxalates are like little shards of glass that wreak havoc on the body. There have been people who've had oxalate poisoning so badly that they thought they had Lyme disease. So you really want to avoid the green juices. You want to avoid the fruit juices because, again, besides what I just said, they're also not going to be, they're not going to have the proper nutrient ratios that your liver, your kidneys, and your gut need to support overall detox. And they're not going to pull the heavy metals from the brain. You guys, we are toxic whether we want to think we are or not. You have to accept that. And so we have to get these toxins out of our brains and get them safely out of the body. So Ghetto Hippie says you can blanch them out. Blanch them out. Blanch out oxalates? I don't know about that. But you would have to send me something to that effect, because cooked or raw, people can still have oxalate reactions. And we test for that too. It's a simple urine test. You can test to see if people are high. Every single person, I shouldn't say every single, probably 90% of the people that I test has an oxalate issue. So I'm like, yeah, you just got to stay away from the green smoothies. Thank you, Dr. Paula. Great information as always. Appreciate you sharing experiences and knowledge. Thank you so much, Lily. And yeah, I think with that, gosh, it's 7:13. Oh my gosh. Time for me to chill out and get my week started. So, okay. So Detox with the Doc starts Monday, January 19th. If you're interested, drop me an email. I will be putting together all the information so that you have more deeper information on what it all entails, how it's going to help you, and how we can get you your products for you as well. So I'll have all of that probably in the next day or two. I apologize for the delay on that. And with that, you guys have an amazing week. Have an incredible new year. And I'll see you here next Sunday. And we're going to break down like what foods can you be eating that are actually going to help you with toxic load. So if you decide you don't want to spend the money on doing an official detox, maybe you can at least just clean up the food environment. And yeah, we'll get you rocking and rolling for 2026. So, all right, you guys, love you all so much. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.